Hi everyone, my name is Benjamin Cowan and welcome to our group research paper presentation. Our title is Home-Based Aerobic Exercise and Resistance Training for Severe Chronic Kidney Disease, a randomized controlled trial. So what is chronic kidney disease? Chronic kidney disease also stands for CKD, and it exists in multiple stages depending on the severity of it. So the higher the stage is, the more of your function in your kidney has been lost, which is not good because you need your kidney to help sort out waste, get rid of waste and out of your blood and keep your body healthy overall. So stage 4 has a lot of severe symptoms: weakness, kidney functional decline, decrease of quality of life. Life is not good in stage 4. However, in stages 1 through 3, there's more functionality for a person. Their quality of life is still there. They can still access the gym, right? So there's been studies done. Hey, well, how does exercise impact chronic kidney disease? And it actually helps lessen the symptoms, increase functionality, and all sorts of stuff like that. So the issue is in stage 4, it's harder for these people, these patients to access the gym. It's hard for them to get out of their house because they have this disease. So we're asking, can at home exercise lessen symptoms of CKD? Would this be our solution? Instead of forcing people to go out of their homes to exercise, what if we told them to exercise out home? So because we have limited data, we are going to test it with a hypothesis. Will an aerobic and resistant training program lessen symptoms and identifiers of CKD, as well as increase quality of life in patients? And that's what we hope to explore here.
This is the assay and methods portion, which is just the procedures that were done for the experiment. So the patients who were tested in the experiment had stage 4 chronic kidney disease. Half of them were randomly chosen to get the usual treatment for CKD, or they were chosen for an exercise program for differences in treatment. The exercise program consisted of aerobic exercise, such as walking, running, any sort of cardio, and resistance exercise, such as lifting weights and weight training. The incremental shuttle walking test was used to compare how the aerobic exercises affected the person's aerobic health from the beginning and end of the study. And grip strength and quadricep strength were tested to compare how resistance exercises affected the patient's strength throughout the study. They did that by testing with a grip strength thing at their side and squeeze it as hard as you can, and the quadriceps sitting down in a chair with the pad in front of their ankles and pressing against it as hard as they can. Kind of like a leg extension, which just measured the maximum force that their thighs or quadriceps could exert. Many physical measurements in both the groups were taken to compare the results at the beginning and end of the experiment and to see the health of the kidneys throughout the experiment. BMI, waist size, leg size, muscle mass were all measured to give the bigger picture of overall health, comparing that between the two, the exercise and the regular treatment group. And water in cells, water out of cells, blood and urine samples were measured to measure how the kidneys were functioning. Statistical tests were used to find if there were any differences between the regular treatment group and the exercise group.
So now on to the results. So while this figure may look complicated, it's actually kind of simple. It can be broken down pretty easily. So first off, the researchers started with 242 possible candidates for the exercise program. Then after kind of looking at these candidates, they found that there was only 46 who could even participate in the experiment. And this was split into two groups. 23 was our control, which that basically just lets the researchers know what would usually happen. And then the other 23 were actually being tested and they were doing the exercises, and that was seeing how it impacted the kidney disease. So these are results from table 1, which basically was just the adherence to aerobic exercises, resistant exercises, and both the number of steps per day of patients and an exercise group. Table 2 was a demographic of the clinical and biochemical data for the study groups. Table 3 showed correlation of health-related quality of life scores with aerobic capacity. And Table 4 showed the results of linear regression analysis of aerobic capacity. So that was a lot of information right there, kind of overwhelms you. So let's kind of break down what those 4 tables actually tell us. So essentially, Table 1 showed us that nearly 100% of patients followed the exercise program that the researchers gave them. Table 2 described the patient's starting health conditions. So said stuff such as like their age and other medical issues. And this just let the researchers kind of have like a clear picture of how healthy everyone's was before going into the exercise program. Table 3 looked at the patient's fitness levels and how it was related to their quality of life. So it showed that people who were more fit tended to feel better in their day-to-day lives, and that people who didn't feel as good, they felt worse. And then table 4 showed kind of the factors that, might predict if someone was going to do good on their walking test. And then it also showed whether the patients had stronger muscles and better nutrition, that they generally perform better in these kind of tests that they ran. Now, this is the results of table 5. This was the effect of the 6-month exercise program on aerobic capacity in subgroup analysis. Table 6 was the effect of the 6-month exercise program on health-related quality of life. Table 7 was the effect of the 6-month exercise program on secondary outcomes. So kind of again, let's look at the big takeaways from their results. So essentially, tables 5 through 7 showed that the results collected during the 6 months trial. Table 5 showed that the exercise groups, that people were able to walk much further by the end of it, which makes sense. If they were exercising regularly, they can exercise and they can walk longer by the end of it. Table 6 and 7 showed that the exercise program also improved their overall health. And then it was really noted that specifically kidney function and their physical well-being was best off. Also, common markers that doctors typically used to measure kidney stress, they were actually lower after the program. And then this just suggests that exercise has a positive effect on kidney health. So now on to the interpretation. So this is kind of more what the study found, what the researchers kind of concluded from the results section. So over the course of the 6-month program, people in the exercise group, like I said, they were able to walk farther, which improved their physical fitness. Their overall physical health and ability to do daily activities was also reported to be better, which just means that their overall well-being, showed improvement from exercise. The researcher also found that patients' kidneys were under less stress and that inflammation in their kidneys was lower. And this just shows improved kidney health through exercise. Now, this said, mental health and social well-being and body composition didn't change much, if any at all, over the course of the program, which was interesting to find. So we believe that the author's interpretations and the results we agree with their results. We think that the data from the experiment showed that the patients who exercised were overall healthier at the end of the 6-month program than patients who were in control.
My name is Evan Shadrick, and I wrote the conclusion and future ideas section of the paper. The purpose of this article was to answer whether or not exercise improved the quality of life in those with stage 4 chronic kidney disease, or CKD. The researchers did this by finding 46 volunteers, 23 of which just received regular CKD treatment. The other 23 performed a regular exercise regimen. They performed aerobic exercises 3 times a week and resistance exercises twice per week. And the image on the left is examples of aerobic exercises, while the image on the right is examples of resistance exercises. Following a 6-month period, the researchers ultimately concluded that the group who exercised saw benefits like an increased physical function, less physical discomfort, an improved perception of quality of life, and a reduction in inflammation. Then to finish the presentation, these are some ways that the study has the potential to lead to countless advancements in health sciences. For instance, the article only looked at aerobic and resistance exercises, but not which of these two contributed most to the benefits that the active CKD patients received. The article also did not consider the intensity that these exercises should be performed at to receive the greatest benefit, or if different types of people should focus on different exercises. And what I mean by different types of people is different ages, different body compositions, and different genders, things like that. Another potential advancement that this research could lead to is due to its potential to be applied to other conditions such as physically debilitating and inflammatory diseases. And then, of course, after we have a better understanding of how exercises should be performed to receive the greatest benefit for each individual person and all the various conditions that can be improved by exercising, we then need to determine how doctors can take this newfound information and use it to create treatment plans for patients. And then the reference slide. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our review article of the article Home-Based Aerobic Exercise and Resistance Training for Severe Chronic Kidney Disease.